Hi everybody, I'm Bill Sanders and this is Watch Art Sci, the art and science of watch collection. What I want to do today is to take a look at a number of different watches from different countries that are low priced. I'll put it that way. And for somebody beginning a watch collection and they don't have a lot of money, these watches are the ones that I recommended for various things. They either have some kind of function or some other feature about them that have some kind of link into your more expensive watches and what's called high horology. So let's take a look at them, and we're going to start with a couple Swiss watches. The first one is a Hamilton Khaki Aviation Pilot GMT. Now, the reason I selected this watch was for the GMT. This is basically a dual time. You have a time, let's say you're traveling and the time zones change. And so you need a watch that's going to give you the time zone for where you're going and where you came from. And this Hamilton Khaki Aviation Pilot GMT does a nice job of that. It's got a bidirectional rotating bezel if you want to set it, transparent case back. The other thing about this that I like, it comes with an additional NATO strap. This is a cloth strap that you can put into it that's a lot different. It gives the watch a totally different appearance. Anyway, now this one is, the MSRP is $1,495. There's a place called shopworn.com. I found one there for $589. So this is another thing, especially for beginners. Look around. Now, when you say, well, it's shop worn, it must not be very good. Well, that's not true. I mean, a lot of times watches will sit there and they won't sell for one reason or the other. And they got too many of them. They're not popular. They're not this or not that. Could be a lot of different things. But boy, you can save a lot of money doing that. Now, this next one is also one from sort of, there's a large organization called, or group organization called Swatch. And Swatch owns the Hamilton, and they also own the Tissot. So this one is one of my favorites, called the Tissot Heritage Petite Seconde. The Petite Seconde is the small seconds down at 6 o'clock on the watch. Now this watch, it's hand wound. In fact, I think just about all the other ones are automatic. Their movement has a little rotor that spins around as you move and keeps them wound. This one doesn't. This one you have to wind up in the morning, and it'll keep going for 46 hours. So yeah, after the first morning, you take the second morning, you have to wind it. The thing I like about this one is that it has a very low frequency. I like low frequency watches for lots of reasons. The one I'm wearing is also a 2.5 hertz, but it's like over $20,000. The one pictured here is a Wooten Lannon Ving 8 ISO. That's also 18,000 VPH, but it's $80,000. So here's one. The MSRP is $995, and there was this place called thewatchery.com where I found this watch for $385. This is one of my favorite watches for just for an entry-level watch. It's got an ETA 6894-1, and the -1 tells you it has a lower frequency. For lots of reasons, the very best watches of them, and the ones that have won most of the Grand Prix awards, or sort of the Academy Awards of watches, have had these lower frequencies. Your standard frequency is about 4 hertz, which is 28,800 VPH. But some of these, if I can find one at lower hertz, I like to talk about it, and this is one of them. So instead of trying to spend $80,000 on a watch, you might pick one with for only $385. Now, the next watch is from Germany, and this is called Junghans Max Bill. Probably mispronounced it in German, but that's okay. Now this one has the caliber, it's called the Junghans caliber J800-1. And what you'll find with a lot of watches, they will have a name, a caliber by their own name, but in fact they tend to be, they have a base of some other caliber. This one, for example, has a base of an ETA 2824-2. 2828-4-2 is a real workhorse movement. They're probably the most popular movement of Swiss brands, and in this case, German brands too. 42 hours to that it has before you have to rewind it. But the thing of it is, it's an automatic movement. And so if you're wearing a thing all day and moving around and stuff, you don't have to wound it for quite a while. Now, the MSRP on this, MSRP stands for Manufactured Suggested Retail Price, is $1,200. You can find them for $1,200. At Shopworn, again, I found one for $585. Now, I'm going to talk about this watch in particular, and at the end I'll talk about them in general. For not too much money, this one is between $18 to $19. There's this, you can get a strap that will really enhance your watch. This one has a gray leather strap that looks sort of dull, to tell you the truth. But, 18, 20 bucks, to spend on a strap, you can really transform how a watch looks. For example, these are what are called crocodile embossed leather. Right now, if you have anything other than regular run-of-the-mill leather, you can run into trouble with a thing called CITES, C-I-T-E-S. And what they're set up for was so that endangered species don't get all killed off. And so you can legally get a crocodile or an alligator strap from a gator farm or something, but if it's not from the right gator farm or this or that, it's just a hassle. A leather one with the embossed pattern for a gator strap, that'll work for you too and cost you a lot less money and make your watch look like $1 million. Okay, this next one, another one from Germany, is a Laco 42 millimeters Aachen Type B dial automatic pilot watch. Okay, now this one I found at the Long Island watch.com. They have a lot of inexpensive watches, but 410 is also the MSRP that Laco has for this particular watch, the Aachen Type B dial automatic pilot watch. And this one now, this is really interesting. This one has the Laco 21 movement, is a Miyota 821A. If you pay an additional $70, you can get the Laco 31 movement, which is a Miyota 8315. As a note at the bottom, by the way, too, Miyota, both of those are Japanese movements. The Swiss movement, though, again, your ETA 2824, is in what is called the Laco 24. Really interesting ways that they name things. And this is a classic pilot's watch, a Flieger, the German term for it. It's just a nice sort of knock-around watch. Now, this next one's from Japan, the Seiko 5. Seiko 5 is just a flat-out fun watch to have for a lot of reasons. First of all, it has a history to it. And the history, this watch, and I have one, this watch came out in 1963 from Seiko, and it was the first watch they had with automatic winding, day-date display and a single window, water resistance, recessed crown at 4 o'clock. That's just having a crown down here instead of in the middle, and then it's durable case and bracelet rather than something cheaper components and stuff. It also has a little window in the back, and you can see the movement. And this watch is, the MSRP is $195. At Joma shop, I found one for 95 bucks. The one I found was green. Basically, it's got a green strap to it and a green dial. Mine is more of a khaki colored and a cream colored. This is for the desert. I live in the New England woods, so anyway, so this is another watch that's fun to have, and one of the things, it does have some historical aspects to it, since it had all 5 of these first for Seikos, hence the Seiko 5, and from 1963, and they're still making the same watch and same movement, sort of has some, a neat watch to add to your collection. Now, this next one is another one from Japan called the Citizen Automatic Silver Dial Titanium. The reason I chose this one that you might consider for a collection is that it's made of titanium. Titanium is a very strong metal, but it's also very light. So if you want to have a watch that you can sort of bang around in and not hurt it, and it's also very light, you might want to consider a titanium. And this one is more of what I call an office watch. In other words, just something you wear every day at the office to, just make sure you got the right time. It's got a date window too. Automatic is, again, this is one, your movement will help do it, help keep it wound. $220. The retail price is $450. So again, this was at the place called Joma shop, and again, this is from a watch from Japan. Now, this next watch is from France, a company called Yema, and they call it the Superman. This is called the Yema Superman Maxi Blue Dial. They have their own caliber. A lot of the watches we looked at, the Seikos have their own movement. But Yema also, and this particular one is called the Yema 2000 No Date, and it's the self-winding watch, which is same as automatic. 39 millimeters. A lot of people like a smaller, well, that's not very small, between what I call my sweet spots, between about 39 millimeters and 42. If you got a big wrist, you want a bigger watch. Mine's sort of in between, it's 7.5 inches. The MSRP on this is $990. The manufacturer's having a special on it for $689. So you can find these things not only at a lot of the secondary markets where you can find a brand new watch at a big discount, such as Shop Worn or Joma shop, but also too, the manufacturers can have a sale. This one's got an in-house movement from France. Now, the final one is from China, and the one I'm showing you is called a Regulator. Perpetual is the name of the company. Perpetual, it's not a perpetual regulator. It's simply, that's the brand name, is Perpetual. A few years ago, I got one because I wanted a regulator. Now, what's a regulator? A regulator is a watch that has each different timekeeping hand has its own subdial. In this particular one, the minute hand is the sweep hand that goes all around. It's the one in the center up at 12 o'clock with the Roman numerals that tells you what the hour is. And then at the bottom, you have the small seconds, and it tells you what the seconds are. What regulators were used for was in watchmaking. The watchmakers would set their watches and they would time the minute, the hour, and the seconds separately. And so it was a lot easier if they could just glance at the regulator on the wall and figure out what to put in. For collectors, it's just sort of a fun watch to have. Mine is now showing 4:30, and it shows my computer. There's the 4 o'clock there. You can see the minute hand right down at the 30 mark at 6 o'clock. So anyway, it keeps good time. It's a fun watch to have, and it checks off an interesting type of movement. By the way, too, the movement for this is a Seagull ST 1711, which is a Chinese-made movement, And it's specially made for regulators. Sometimes you'll see a regulator made from some modified movement. This one I think is not modified, but rather it's was built to have a separate dial position, or second, the little stem that comes out that they put the hands on for it. Anyway, so if you're thinking of getting into watch collection, or if you're starting watch collections, hope some of these are useful. If you're more experienced, I'd like to have any kind of feedback that you would also suggest to somebody beginning in watchmaking. In the meantime, this is an opportunity to subscribe if you like. Until next time, this is Bill Sanders for Watch Art Side, the art and science of watch collection.